I made a little setup here for you so you can get an idea. Now, the very first thing you're going to need, it's pretty obvious, is resin. So I will run through the ones that I have up here later on in the video. That way you can have a better idea of which one you're going to need for the kind of crafts that you're going to want to do. But for now, just know you need the resin. And the second most important thing that I believe you're going to need is we call it PPE, personal protective equipment. And I think that's very important because resin is a chemical. You don't want to be breathing the fumes. You don't want it on your skin. I've seen YouTubers who post they've been working with resin for a long time, but just randomly their body decided that they wanted to be allergic to resin. So I think that protecting yourself in the beginning is the most important thing to do. So it is extremely important to wear your gloves to protect your hands, your skin whenever you're touching the resin or getting the resin out at all. You don't want it touching your skin. I get these black nitrile gloves. They are powder free. I don't believe they're medical, so they are powder free. They are not made with natural rubber latex. It does not say latex free. It just says it's not made with latex. But anyways, I like these a lot. They fit really snug. I have smaller hands. I get the size small. They fit so much better than like what you get whenever you order resin and they give you like these huge clear cafeteria gloves. I don't like those. So I do spend a little bit more money and get the good ones. The second most important thing besides gloves is a mask. I did get this one off of Amazon. It's supposed to protect you from fumes. And that's the biggest part is the fumes. Like once the resin dries and cures fully, it is not a chemical anymore. And you won't have to be afraid of breathing the air. But when you're using it, you don't want to breathe it. So I make sure that I have my mask. Also, a really good thing to have is an air purifier. I have seen on Amazon that there's a new one out. I want to buy that one. It's made specifically for fumes. That is on my to-do list to buy that one as well. I do have a regular air purifier just to catch like the dust and stuff because it's not going to catch the fumes. But always make sure that you're in an open area. Like I will open up the window, I will have my air purifier going, and I will wear my mask whenever I am working with the resin. So you just want to just protect yourself. And I will have links in the description below if you are interested in. I did research to make sure that I got the right mask for this, and you cannot smell the fumes at all when you're wearing this. So it works. I think it comes with one refill, but I went ahead and bought like another thing of refills because you want to change out the little filter thing every so often. So alcohol can wipe up resin. So I found these wipes at the Dollar Tree. I love these things. I don't have a link for these, I'm sorry, but try your local Dollar Tree. These are great because they're really wet, and so they wipe up the resin like super, super good. And the other thing is hanging on my wall over here. So an apron. I didn't have these at first, and so I stained up my clothes. You cannot get resin out of your clothes, no matter how much you scrub it. If you catch it right when it happens, it won't come out of your clothes. So aprons, or if you have like a specific outfit that is just for when you work with resin, it is necessary. Even if you think you're clean, you're gonna spill. I promise you. Or you're gonna have it on your glove, and then you're accidentally gonna bump and hit your hand on your pants or something. I've ruined some clothes. I keep those clothes for when I do art now. You can see, like, there's some resin right there. It just sticks right to it, and it won't come off. So aprons are a must in my book. And now we are going to get into supplies. We have resin, we have a personal protective equipment, and then we have supplies. So a must, it's also keeping your station clean, your work area clean, is a mat. It's a silicone mat. So resin will not stick to silicone. One of the only things resin will not stick to. So I bought these small mats. They were crap. But I've actually bought multiples of these because I ruined one of them. But that was my fault. But I just got this on Amazon and it has worked really well. I also saw one, the next time I buy one, I'm going to get the Resiners brand because the next thing on our list is a heat gun. And I have used this heat gun since I started and it has been amazing. It is the Resiners brand. So yeah, the next time I need a mat, totally go into the Resiners brand. But you can see I have gotten crap all over it, thus the apron, because crap, I don't want it on my clothes. But still works wonderfully. This is a dual heat. It's got the low and the high, and then it's got the little stand, of course, and it also comes with different nozzles. I know it comes with one that you can make like waves and stuff if you're looking to do like the ocean wave design in your art, and a couple more. I haven't really used them, I'll be totally honest. But this helps with bubbles because when you start pouring resin, bubbles are your enemy and you're gonna get them. So I do have a video out. I made it a while ago, but it walks you through actually pouring the resin, stirring it, all that. There's a link up in the corner if you're interested in going through that one. It is like the hands-on actually, pouring it, mixing it, stirring it, all that good stuff. Moving on. You will also need something to pour your resin into. I suggest cups. There are different kind of cups you can get. It also depends on what resin you're using. Or like if you're going to be using a vacuum chamber machine, which we'll go over that later, but plastic, not silicone for those machines, which I learned that the hard way. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. I prefer the silicone for environmentally friendly because you can reuse these, just wipe them out. Which, when I'm using resin, that's what these are for. You can wipe them out or you can wait for it to dry, and then you can grab some packing tape and just use the tape to use the sticky on the tape to get the resin off after it dries. But if you're wanting to clean while you're going, use the wipes, wipe it out. So I do suggest if you're going to get silicone cups, I will link this set. There's like a multitude. There's like bigger, and then there's the smaller. It comes as a set. I do recommend these over baking silicone cups because I originally bought these when I started with silicone thinking that they would, work just as well, but they are so difficult to get on the inside of. Let me show you. With these that I recommend, they are wigglier, see, more flexible. And the best way to clean these out, if they're dry, mind you, if they're dry, you can pop them like this. Forgive me. You see little bits flying off of this. I do need to clean it. So these, right? Oh, see, there goes little bits. Okay, I gotta clean that up later. I'll clean it up. So it pops inside out, super easy. But you can see all the stuff all over it. It got on my hand, but it is dry, so it is not toxic. And then you just take your packing tape, and this is loud, so I apologize. Oh. Take the tape, roll it around your fingers like you're going to get lint off your clothes, and do the same thing here. And voila, it gets it off. That is not like the best way to clean. That is a quick clean. You do want to clean with warm soapy water every so often to actually get like a really good clean. I think his name's Steve McDonald. I watched one of his like cleaning resin, and he actually just brings out a big bowl and uses the bowl. That way he's not getting chunks of resin down his drain. So anyways, cleaning. This works. Quick clean or a major clean, warm soapy water. Don't pour chunks of resin down your drain. It's bad. But super easy to turn inside out, right? Well, not the case. Not the case. You can't. It's not. It doesn't. No. no. So the thick baking silicone cups, I do not like them for this. Keep that in mind. And then we have our plastic cups. I really like these a lot. They have the measurements on them. They do it cups and ounces on this side, milliliters on that side. Really easy to measure. These are the kind of cups that are really good in the vacuum chambers too. The bubble remover machines. Whoopsie. These are good. I don't like the waste, but I like the convenience. And then I actually got these at Hobby Lobby, but they're like the little medicine cups. Those also have the little measurements on it too. So I really like these as well. Then another supply are your stirrers. So these actually come with the Beast Bond resin if you get the kit. These, I have destroyed a few of these. These actually come with this set that I bought, and they are silicone as well, so they are very much reusable. Or you can get popsicle sticks, which are very handy as well, especially for the smaller, you got popsicle sticks. Stirrers. And last but not least, you are going to need a mold, a silicone mold. This is one of the first ones that I bought. It's flowers, but molds will come in different varieties. So you got your silicone molds that look like this that are a little squishier. And then you got your silicone molds that are like this. You can buy the silicone molds that were made for candy or baking. Just keep in mind they do not work with UV resin because the UV light has to actually go through the mold to harden the resin. These are good for epoxy resin. If you're looking to do more like jewelry or really small things, you want the smaller ones. Make sure you get clear if you're planning on using the UV resin instead of the epoxy resin. Smaller clear ones for UV resin. Speaking of UV resin, I've only used a couple UV resin. I am more into making the bigger molds and less into making like the jewelry, but I do make some jewelry. And I have used both the Let's resin and the Bond Crafter resin. That's the UV resin. I do prefer the Bond Crafter resin over the Let's resin UV resin. I just like the way it works. I am not sponsored by any of these brands that I have told you about. I'm just letting you know what I like. For UV resin, I prefer the Bond Crafter resin. I think I just like the consistency of the Bond Crafter better. It just seems to dry better for me too. I don't know like exactly what it is. I just know that when I'm working with it, I do prefer working with the Bond Crafter over the Let's resin UV resin. But when it comes to epoxy resin, I do prefer Let's resin over the Bond Crafter resin. But if you are a beginner looking for just the cheapest option you can get, Bond Crafter epoxy resin is a very, very budget-friendly option for epoxy resin. I just find it to be a little thicker consistency than what I like. So for me, Let's resin and Beast Bond resin are on the same level. If this is your very first resin you're buying, I do like the Beast Bond resin. They have a beginner kit that actually comes with a stirrer, a couple measuring cups, and the quality is good. But it is going to be more expensive than the Bond Crafter resin, and the Let's resin is about on the same lines cost-wise as the Beast Bond resin is. I have not tried any other brands of epoxy resin. I hear that I think it's Expertee. I'll put the name on the screen. I have heard people having really good results with that. I have not tried a higher quality, more expensive. I just don't have the funds for it. So epoxy resin, Let's resin, and Beast Bond resin has worked the best for me. But you're always going to find that the epoxy resin is two-step. It's got the hardener and the resin, and you just mix them together based on what the label tells you to do. So that's pretty simple there. And here is an example of what you can do with epoxy resin. I used a mold and I made the dragon eyeball and I turned it into a book. This is the very first book I made actually. And I sewed everything and everything. So there's a wide variety of stuff you can do with resin. UV resin, Bond Crafter UV resin has worked the best for me. There is an example of what you can do with the UV resin. I have made resin earrings that I painted with acrylic paint. and they come out really lightweight. This is my most recent UV resin project, and I used the Bond Crafter resin for this, and just some regular acrylic paint that I had, nothing too fancy. All right, and there is also a deep pour resin. If you're doing projects like this or these, or about this size, you're good to use just regular epoxy resin. But if you want to do something that's going to be 2 inches or more deep, like this, like you can go 2 inches tall as long as it's thinner. If you're doing larger projects, larger pours, then you want to go with a deep pour resin. In a later video when we go more in depth, I'll tell you the reasoning on it, but just for now, deep pour resin. And I also have, for an example, this is a tabletop epoxy. It is actually a clear coat meant to coat larger projects, and it just adds that extra protection, extra sheen, all that. So for now, just getting started, if you're wanting to do these kind of projects, I recommend the epoxy resin. If you're wanting to do the jewelry, if you want to do the jewelry or the smaller, go with UV resin. And if you do use UV resin, you'll need a UV resin light. So that one would be a must if you are going. Let me show you. Let's Resin has a little bonding resin, which you're just bonding 2 things together with it. It takes like 3 seconds to cure. And it comes with this little UV light. You don't want to use this if you're making these. You want something more along the lines of this, or you can get just one, and it's got the UV lights on the bottom. I just recently bought this one. I love it. UV resin, you will want a UV light, and you'll want a bigger UV light if you're doing like jewelry and stuff. I think that covers it for now. We will go into more depth in more videos. I will also show you mistakes in more videos so that you can avoid certain mistakes. I have some projects I'll show you that just came out like hideous, so hideous. We'll go over that later. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get the notifications when those videos do come out. And don't forget to check out the description for links to most of the products that I showed you. Like I said, a couple of these I did get at different places that I don't have links for, but I will have links for most of the stuff in the description below if you're interested, if it's something that you would like to try. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.